What is it that we are meant to actually do?
The right thing is not always the easy thing.
There is a starting over. There is a forgiveness you can receive.
You came up with a certain point here.
It's a whole nother topic.
I knew that I believed in God. I didn't know what God to believe in.
Welcome to the World Gone Mad.
And from WGM Studios, deep in the midst of chaos, it's the Next Generation podcast for the next generation. Welcome back to the World Gone Mad, the least listened to podcast on the internet. I'm your crazy white fat host, the Baker Boy himself, and recently in the World Gone Mad, we started a partnership with a church in Camden, Michigan called Camden Missionary Church, which I think goes really well, won't you? I mean, that seems to work together pretty well. The youth group there called The Tribe, we took a trip to Cedar Point with the Tribe. And let me tell you something. It was like stepping into almost an entirely different world. I had some real difficulties and struggles walking around trying to avert my eyes from thingies that I didn't need to be looking at and they didn't need to be showing me. Are you following me?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're at this theme park, and from my experience, I've seen the same thing at other theme parks where a lot of the girls there are dressing just so scantily clad that it's a hindrance in having fun. I mean, if I was there with my kids, and I was there with the Tribe, so I'm like, guys, just try to avert your eyes. And if I went there with my kids, I'm like, you can't look at anything until we actually get in the coaster, and the only thing you can see is the back of everybody else's head. Are you with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're there. We're seeing all this in Modesty. I start doing some Facebooking, some Twittering, some posting on some pages, and it began a conversation. And then you jumped in on some of that. And I'm trying to remember some of the questions that I started asking, but one of them was like, why are women dressing this way at a park? What is this indicative of their respect or lack of respect for themselves? And I think that somewhere along the line you jumped in. Welcome to the show, Hoser. This is a good friend of mine, long time. You happen to be a female, which I think is a plus for the show. And you've been a female now for how long?
30 years. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure that you've been a female for that period of time. But at any rate, I brought you in because I had some questions for you that I'm hoping maybe you can help shed some light on the topic. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering here, first off, do girls dress for other girls, or I mean, is that like a competition thing for them, or are they actually dressing to get all this attention, negative attention at that? And I'm a pessimist, so I know about negativity. Negative attention, do they dress for that kind of attention from the guys, or is it more like a competition thing where they got to dress better than that girl so that they get the attention, or so that they're held up on some kind of pedestal?
I think it's both. Because unfortunately, as girls, we know what we think and sometimes say when we see other girls dressed in a certain way, and we don't want other girls thinking or saying those kind of things about us. And I think that too, we need to feel like we're better. We need to feel like we've got the best stuff, we've got the best clothes, that we look cute. And I think that it's a self-esteem issue that if they don't think when they walk out the door, man, I look really good today, then it sets their whole tone for the day. So I think there is that competition between girls, but they also dress to get the attention of guys. Unfortunately, a lot of teenage girls don't see it as negative attention. They see that they're getting looked at, and they think that guys are thinking, oh, she's cute. What they don't know is what the guy is thinking and is saying to his buddies when the girl isn't looking.
Okay, but what in their mind says, because I can lean over and tie my shoes and my drawers are showing to everybody behind me, what in their mind says I look good this way? Like I'm dressed like a skank or a slut or a whore or whatever words you want to put in there, that's okay for them, and yet they don't want to be called those negative terms by all of their friends or people that don't know them. But in their mind, they're saying, hey, I look good. I'm good to go.
Well, I think it's because Britney Spears thinks she looks good that way. Christina Aguilera thinks she looks good that way. Lady Gaga thinks she looks good that way. Quite honestly, I don't think those are the kind of role models that teenage girls need to be having. Yeah, those girls dress that way.
When did you start dressing modest, or how did modesty play into your wardrobe when you were a teenager?
I grew up a pastor's kid, and so I just thought my parents were ultra conservative.
Did that bother you?
Yeah, it did. There was one instance I was going to a wedding, and I had a skirt on, and now looking back on it, I'm thinking, shoo, that thing was short. But at the time, I looked cute in my own mind. I thought I looked cute. And my dad told me, he said, that is far too short. He said, you're either going to change or you're not going to go to the wedding. And I thought, well, I didn't go to the wedding.
So you pooped your pants?
I didn't.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no.
I didn't know
my
what the noise
was
thing.
just, back off me.
Got it. Okay.
Dude.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go to the wedding because I wasn't going to change my dress.
Do you think that when the teenage girls of today, as well as their moms and their older women still trying to look like a teenager, when in reflective of what the popular artists are today, do you think that those teens and moms and women realize, or do they know or understand or even care what they're doing to all the other guys that are either trying to have a conversation with them or just trying to, focus on something else other than their outfit? Do they do that? Do they know, care, understand?
I think in a lot of cases, no. I think that I think, and myself, I've been guilty of this. We tend to become so self-involved when we get dressed in the morning or, in the evening if we're getting ready to go out or whatever. I think that unfortunately we become so self-absorbed that we don't think about what other people are thinking when they look at us. We go through our closet and, well, I don't like that, and that's too small, and, that makes my butt look big, and, all this other stuff. And then it becomes all about me, 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 me. What do I look good in? What do I feel comfortable in? I think that they forget to think about what other people are seeing and how other people are perceiving it. I think a lot of times they don't think about what they're doing to the guys who are seeing them.
Okay. So they're out there and they're dressing a certain way. Do they like being looked at like a piece of meat? Because they go out there dressing like this, and then they get all upset because the guy can't keep his eyes off of her breastises or the rest of her body, and she wants him to be looking at her in the mouth and the face. Well, I've heard of two different things. You can either dress to frame your body, or you can dress with your clothes to frame your face. These girls are dressing to frame their body, and then they're getting upset when they're getting noticed by all these guys, either negative attention or the attention that they think they want. Then they realize on the other side, wait a minute, I want him to notice me for my mind, body, and spirit, not necessarily my body. I remember I was sitting on the floor with a steak, and I was getting ready to watch a Twilight Zone, and I got up to go back in the kitchen to get some A1. I came back. Our dog had eaten like part of the steak. I was ready to fillet the dog next. I was so upset.
Throw the A1 on the dog.
I was livid. I put a lot of time and effort into that steak. Now, the problem wasn't the dog. The problem was me. Okay, because it's stupid of me to leave a steak on a plate on the floor where a dog can easily walk up and grab it. So I can't necessarily get mad at the dog for eating the steak. I'm going to liken this. I'm going to be shot and given a lot of bad email about it, but let's be realistic.
Yep.
You can't go out there and dress like a skank and not be recognized as a skank. Just like I can't leave my steak on the floor and not expect a dog to come up and chew it. Now, granted, it'd be nice if we lived in a world where you can dress and wear whatever and get the respect that you're wanting, but that's not the case. That's not how the mind of a guy thinks. I'm just as much a guy as Q is, as Micah and Taylor, as everybody else out there. And just because I'm a youth pastor or a director of an organization does not exempt me from the fact I got two eyes in my head.
That's right.
I'm visually driven. I want to be visually driven only by my wife. But when I go to these theme parks and there's all these ladies out there dressing the way that they do, it distracts me just as much as it does the next guy. I don't want to be seeing it. I don't need to be seeing it. But I don't like the fact that these women are dressing this way, and then they're blaming the guys for only giving them that kind of attention. Do the outfits distract a guy away from what you're saying, or do they rather invite him into what it is that you're saying? Would you rather be gawked at because of the outfit, because of the clothes that you put on that morning? And walk down the hallway and then you're gawked at, or you walked at your workplace, or you walk down the street and then you got these guys hollering at you? Or would you rather be respected because of what you're wearing? Isn't there more to you than just your body? I mean, don't you want guys to walk up to you because there's something more mysterious behind you than just that which you're showing them? And in that way, you, as a lady, receive your emotional, not aptitude, you receive your emotional fulfillment of what you're looking for. And then as you guys get to know each other, and then within the marriage, the guy receives his physical in visual stimulation inside the marriage, not outside where you would get that negative attention. There's a saying, and I just heard it a short while ago. I love it. It said that when someone dresses immodestly, it's like a firecracker or a firework going off. It pops and people turn and look for a second, and then it fades away, and then so do the glances and all the gawking and the looking. When you compare that to something like a candle, where a candle flickers in the wind, a candle remains lit, and there's a little more warmth in a candle than there is in a firecracker, or firework that is exploding a few hundred feet away. There's something a little more mysterious about a candle. So if you were to dress not like a candle, but if you dress with more modesty and you're attracting some of the positive attention, I heard once when we were at Cedar Point that, well, you got to dress so that you stick out. Well, today, and I was at Cedar Point, I'm looking for ladies that actually stood out in the crowd, different from all the other ladies that were there. And I'm telling you, tight shorts, short tops, tight tops. I did this exercise with my wife. We're at a movie theater, and I asked her, look around and tell me what individual woman stands out to you. She's looking around. It's like, nothing. They're all dressed the same. If you want to stand out, dress modestly.